Tons of territory in my world have been empty, waiting for new builds for ages, and chests are filled with tons of resources that can't find their purpose. So today, I will be trying to fix this situation by making a foundation for a new area in my world, at the same time working on existing build. My name is Angry, and welcome to my world. I have planned to do a lot of things today, but let's say the main thing that I have to do is to build another warehouse in my world that will be for stone. Chests in my house were filled long ago, I have no space to put all the blocks I have. That small storage that I have in the other area was also filled long ago, so I have to address this issue and finally add another storage to my collection that will finally be for stone. I already have this built in a schematic, so all that is left to do is to gather resources for So, our warehouse is ready, which means that it's time to examine it a little more and for me to talk about it as a build. First and very important thing is that we have two floors. The lower is the storage itself, and the higher one that we will come back to is where the owner lives. The building itself is fairly simple, I think. The most interesting part of it is probably the roof, where you can see those green blotches that are made using copper. They are supposed to mimic moss that you could see on the roof of the house in the reference, and I thought that if I try to recreate it in the building, it will make it more interesting, which basically happened. You can also see these small pins. They also add some charm and some kind of highlight. And now I suggest we look at the storage itself and discuss it. The first thing that meets us when we enter the first floor is this functional area where we have some furnaces and other functional blocks to quickly work with stone, get necessary blocks, and so on. Stone cutter is the most important one in our case, as you can't work with stone without it. And if we look at the storage, you can see that there are tons of chests. Fortunately for me, I made the building too big, and I had to fill the space somehow, which gave me complete freedom, and I had an opportunity to make a sorting system that will be most comfortable for me, and it's sorting by almost every block type. I probably missed only a couple of them, but we probably have all the stone types in here and their variants, of course. Some people don't like such sorting, but personally I find it super comfortable, as you don't have to bother yourself with looking for a specific block that is in one of the chests. You can just walk up to the chest and you know that this chest, for example, is for deep slate, and here you have its variations. And I won't be spending time trying to find block in that mess that will be happening in chests in the future. As you can see, I marked chests using data pack for small blocks, but unfortunately this data pack doesn't have all the blocks, so I had to place some of them that are absent in such manner. It's pretty good, but still noticeable and kinda ruins the picture, but overall you can live with that. I'm satisfied with the storage, very happy to finally have it, and I finally have a place where I can normally stock all that stones that I have without needing to constantly find a place to fit new blocks. Now I suggest to look at the second floor. You don't have anything to look at, in fact, as it's empty. There will be interior here, I don't know when, but it will exist, as it's a pretty cool space that you can decorate interestingly, which I will be doing in the future. And if we're talking about interiors, welcome to the Interior Matters, where we are creating interiors for already existing buildings that don't have them for some reason. Today we'll be working with our wonderful blacksmith. As you can see, it still doesn't have interior, which is pretty sad. So today we'll be fixing it. This time we'll be busy with this part of it, and we'll complete the resident part some other time. Let's not waste any time and get to work. First, and probably the most important step that I do while creating interiors, is getting some easy to break blocks, in my case it's netherrack, and planning out the space that I have. And now I get different functional blocks and start to form the interior itself. This is the picture that we have right now. This space came out to be a room that can be called half a workshop, half a storage room, as the main space where the main instrument forging happens is located not inside but here. Same as the reference, which makes sense, as furnace, that is the main element in a forge, is outside. So forging process should happen here. Here our blacksmith will probably store all necessary things, be doing some side processes while forging weapons and instruments. And here he'll spend a bigger half of his time working with hot metal. Outside we have some stuff, ores, boxes and similar things thrown around. I will probably add something in the future, expanding this area and the amount of things laying around our forge and house, as this creates an effect of somebody living here, And not just somebody, but a busy blacksmith who has tons of work and who constantly needs a lot of materials. Fortunately or unfortunately, our work for today isn't done yet. I still have a couple of houses that I plan to build next to existing buildings to fill in the space and start to form the settlement. I won't be tormenting you with block gathering process and will move to building immediately. Couple hours of work and now everything is finally in its place. And I finally can talk about everything I built. Big half of houses are residential and without interior. We will be making them later as a part of our lovely rubric, but some of them have interiors that we'll check out. All of them look very different separately, but if you look at the whole picture, different houses have elements that are similar, which one way or another create some kind of harmonical picture. That is, for example, in a lot of houses I used dark oak. One building, second sort there, fourth here, and in those two we have dark oak blotches and it's in forge too. And it makes everything smoother bit by bit, and it seems that buildings look harmonical. Overall, the whole settlement can be called one big experiment for me, as I tried to decorate all these buildings in an interesting way, use interesting gradients, simply use interesting colors so that I expand my number of blocks that I can use and add a little bit of diversity in my builds. I'm trying to do it right now as I believe that as many blocks, tricks and techniques you can use while building, the better and easier it will be for you to build anything. I think we talked about the general picture long enough, so let's take a closer look at some buildings. The first building with interior is this one. It's a decorative warehouse. There won't be just one functional, we'll also have a few decorative. As warehouses are pretty necessary in such spaces, they are highly important, and I plan to make some of them, with this one being the first. It's pretty simple inside, as you can't really do much in here, but at the same time it came out great. Here we have stuff lying around to show a mess, but at the same time it's kinda organized as it's logical. You'll try to somehow organize the space you work in, but a mess will appear simultaneously, which is shown here. I tried to place all these objects in a way that it creates clutter and you didn't have a feeling that there's too much clear space here. At the same time, not making everything too filled, so much that you don't have where to walk, as I think there will be some free space. And a good method for making space more interesting is using different height, different overhangs, second floors, making the floor itself in different height. This way you'll have an interesting layout inside the house and you'll have an opportunity to divide the space clearly. And the second building is very similar to the first one. It's this one. And unlike the first, it's not a warehouse, but still a pretty important space. As you can guess from interior, it's a diner that is located right next to the canyon and the exit from it. I thought that placing such space in a pretty convenient location for workers will be pretty relevant, as usually after a hard day at work, especially if it's a physical work, people are very tired and hungry, so having a place to eat right next to your workplace is amazing, as you can hop in before, after, in the middle of work to eat, regain your energy and continue working. Here we have a couple tables, small kitchen where the food is cooked, and probably the most interesting element, those pictures that are supposed to represent those motivational posters which could appear in different places people often visit because of managers of this settlement, so that people are motivated to work and to work harder. I don't know if it's relevant, but I guess that placing such information in truly often used spaces can be beneficial to the managers and it can somehow influence people. All other houses don't have interiors, but they will appear in the future. And that's all I can show you right now. If you have any suggestions of what I can add in different places next to the buildings, I will be very happy to hear them, as I'm always open to new ideas and will be glad to include y'all in the creation of this place. At last, I suggest we talk a little, cause why not? I like to express my opinion and maybe my thoughts will be interesting or even useful for someone. Today I want to talk about detalization. I will of course use Minecraft as an example, but I guess that my view of the matter can be expanded on other art forms. I think that the main thing in detalization is knowing when to stop, as it's always easy to go into over-detalization or even do not enough details that will unravel your piece to the very end. As they say, the beauty is hidden in details. So, details are considered important, which is true, which is why you gotta know when to stop and don't go in this damn over detailization. I know that it can be hard and you can even not notice that you do too much for a long time, and in results don't get this wow effect that you expect from those details. It's important to understand that most details should be made using the rule 20% effort and 80% results. Never the other way, because then details will be basically useless. That's why people often recommend to not do something that is noticeable only to you as an author, or that is unnoticeable from the first glance, as in most cases you spend your time and energy on this and the result will change nothing in your piece and will bring you only negative emotions from understanding that you just spent your time on some bullshit, even if at first you think that it is not. So that's why I want to see more people who understand that sometimes you have to do just a little bit less details while saving yourself time and energy, instead of doing some bullshit that will do nothing. Because when a person spends tons of time to get suspicious gravel to detailize the path and it doesn't bring any change whatsoever, this path doesn't change in the slightest, you can't call it rational detailization of your location. You can only call it stupid usage of time. And here you can of course use the rules that everyone should build as they like and everyone should do what they like and how they like, and nobody can dictate you any rules, which will be right. But even when you go in this over detalization, spend your time on some trifles, one way or another in the future, in most cases you will regret it. And so I think it's important to tell people who do such things, as I mentioned, that dude, it's not not worth it. Maybe you should change your perspective a little. I don't know. So yeah, always remember that details shouldn't be 80% effort and 20% result. Only the other way. Always let yourself rest and see clearly, because you probably won't be seeing right when you're over detailizing. And share your thoughts on the topic in the comments, as I'm very interested to hear what you think. Am I mistaken, or do you support my statements? And so I thank you for watching. I hope this video was interesting and even useful to you all. Please support this channel by giving it a like and a subscription, as I really need it as a beginner. Share your thoughts about my builds and the topic I talked about 3 seconds ago in the comments. I'm really interested to read it, and I truly need feedback. And I'll see you in the next video. See you later.